Hello and welcome to a Garfield mini essay written by me, Stopa, aka Lux Ludos. This is specifically going to be a little teaser meant specifically for my DIY video class. So I hope to expand upon what I talk about here today and to a multi-hour project, most likely. Now, have people done this before? Have people done a Garfield video essay? Of course they have. Have they done it better than me? Also, yes. But I have ASD and I have queer audacity, so I can do as I very well please. And today we're gonna autism rant about Garfield. And you get to enjoy the ride. So, to begin, Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield and amongst many other comics before Garfield. He was born July 28th, 1945 in Marion, Indiana. Davis is a screenwriter, producer, as well as a cartoonist. He worked specifically for Pendleton Times, which is a newspaper in Indiana. You guessed it. He created several other works such as U.S. Acres, Tumbleweeds, Norm Nat, and Mr. Potato Head. He graduated from Ball State University and began work in 1969, debuting with the comic series Norm Nat in 1973, running all the way to 1975, published in the Pendleton Times in Indiana. Although, in 1976, Jim debuted the one and only John comic. You know, the classic newspaper comic strip, John. John was the original name for what we now know as the newspaper comic strip series Garfield. John, originally, the comic focused on John Arbuckle as the main character and main focus, as opposed to Garfield. Suffice to say, John didn't get much traction, so it was switched to Garfield in 1978. Jonathan Q. Arbuckle originally was a self-insert character for Jim Davis in the comic John. He still is kind of a self-insert. I mean, John, his canonical job is being a cartoonist, much like the creator of the comic Jim Davis is. They also have the same birthday, making both of them a Capricorn. And you know what they say about Capricorns. Capricorns are hard workers, and Jonathan, he's not exempt to that rule. He is not exempt to that trope. Stereotype. I don't really know. Amongst his talents of being extremely unflirty, he's also a musician. Not a good one, though. Although he does play the bongos, banjo, bagpipes, accordion, and guitar alongside his, what I guess you would call vocal talents. Growing up on a farm in Indiana, much like Jim Davis, during the Christmas specials you would often come home to Jonathan's mother, father, brother, and paternal grandmother. John is characterized as very awkward, very strong lack of social skills. I can also relate. And if there's any doubt in what kind of a character John Arbuckle is, he was voted the #1 most depressed cartoon comic character. Before Dr. Liz, his future love interest, John was often shown to be desperate for love. Multiple comic strips, him just sadly staring at his phone, waiting for anyone, and I mean anyone, to respond to him. And Garfield roasts the shit out of this man. It is so funny. Moving on to our namesake, our #1, our absolute #1 fave, Garfield. In the beginning, he was born in an Italian restaurant where, as soon as he opened his little baby eyes, he decided to eat everything in sight. And I mean everything. Mama Leone's restaurant was completely deprived of any ingredient that made pasta, pizza, whatever. He ate everything. And his Kirby-like hunger caused him to be put up for adoption by Mama Leone, because she couldn't take it anymore. Like, she couldn't take the financial hardship that this kitten that she didn't even ask for, you know. But I mean, besides him, he had a decent amount of cats in his family, so I mean, she could only support so much. Garfield has two parents, his mother, who remains unnamed, and his father, named Vic. Now, excuse me, I will have to look at my script, because I'm not joking when there are so many cats in his family. I'm not going to list all of their names, but just to get the information out, okay? His family is quite large, with 15 uncles, 5 aunts, 2 great-uncles named Butchanan and Ralph, and 1 unnamed grandfather alongside his great-grandfather named Oslo. Luckily, though, after Mama Leone put up Garfield for adoption, one Jonathan Q. Arbuckle adopted this cat. You know, I mean, he's quoted as saying, "I love cats. I wanted a cat. So what do? I go to the pet store and ask for a cat. What do they give me? A lasagna with fur and fangs." So suffice to say, he made an impression. Garfield is characterized as very sarcastic, super sassy, very lazy, and very selfish, and quickly prone to violence. Odie was introduced in a comic where John's roommate, Lyman, had a pet dog and brought him home, and then in 1983, Lyman just disappeared from everything Garfield. Literally, we have no idea what happened to this man. He just disappeared. Originally, he was John's roommate, and then he dropped off Odie, and then was never mentioned or seen again. Originally, John just basically adopted him from there. Odie just kind of was a family member, but in other parallel universes in the Garfield multiverse, I can't believe I just said that. In the Garfield multiverse, Odie was just adopted by John at a veterinarian clinic, or he was just always Jonathan's dog. Odie doesn't talk except for like in bows, such as like from Blue's Clues, you know how Blue talks, as well as just general dog noises. But Garfield understands him at all times, and he's one of the only characters that can understand Odie at all times. Obviously, John none the wiser to anyone talking in most or all. I don't know if John ever understands them. I honestly do not remember.